Hey, techie teachers, I'm sure you're like me and you're doing some PBIS stuff right now, and you've looked at the PBIS reward tracker app and been blown away by how much that costs. So, my school system had that same feeling and then came to me as the technology guru to help find a solution. So, here's what I did. First, I got all of my homerooms with student names in a Google spreadsheet, and that makes it super easy to create our form here. So again, this is just rosters for teachers with student names. From there, we're going to go in and create a new Google form. So this is where the magic happens. We're going to use some branching form techniques to help clean this up. So I'll call this my PBIS rewards demo for you. Click down here, that populates. So the first question for me is what grade level? And then to eliminate any kind of spelling mistakes or typos, I use drop down menus in all of this. So if you spell Matthew with one T on accident, all of a sudden those points don't go to Matthew. So that's why we're using drop down here. We're in grades 3, 4, or 5. Now we want to add a new section, and so this is the grade 3 section, and then we add a section for grade 4 and add a section for grade 5. It's really important you put your titles in there for this reason right here. So we're going to, based on their answer, send them somewhere specific. Go to section based on answer. So if they click 3, we want them to go to 3. If they click 4, they go to 4. If they click 5, they go to 5. That's why your titles are so important. Then from there, so if we go into 3, I want to add a question. And this is going to be our homeroom teacher. So we want to make sure, again, we're going to use drop-down menus here. And I'm going to glance back at my form. So I have Fuller, Brown, and Smith. So Fuller, Brown, and then Miss Smith is going to be a 4th grade teacher. Smith. All right. Looks good. Looks good. Now again, based on their answer, they're going to go to a section. So we need a Fuller section. And we need a Brown section. And then we need a Smith section. There we go. So based on our answer, Fuller is going to send them to Fuller. Brown will send them to Brown. Based on our answer, go to Smith. Now we're going to add our roster. So we're going to click on the Fuller section, click your plus button. Again, we're going to do drop down, and we're going to say student. Now go over to your spreadsheet. We're in Fuller. So we're going to copy and paste those. So this is why it's so important having a spreadsheet. It makes it so much easier. And then we're going to hit the plus button, and we want to add a short answer here. And now this can be a positive or a negative number. So that's great. And we want to make sure that it is a number for that answer. And you can give them a try again if they don't put in the correct one. Now let's head down to Brown. Remember what we did. We added a question, student name. It is a drop down, so this eliminates any kind of typo in there. Let's highlight her class, copy it, Control C, paste it, Control V, and hop down to Smith. Add a question that is a drop down. Here we go. Smith. And select Control C, Control V in there, and that's student. name. Don't forget we got to add a rewards amount, text, right, is a number, is a number. There you go. It's starting to catch on. Get that done for me. Now, below every time it says rewards points. So that's the end. So we want to make sure that submits the form. That submits the form. And rewards points submits form. So here's what it looks like. I'll go ahead and show you. We're going to hit preview. So we'll choose grade level, 3rd grade, hit next. Now we choose our homeroom. We're in Mr. Fuller's homeroom. And then Susie received 5 points. We hit submit. And then we can reload it and do another response in there. So let's hop back and talk about how to sort the data. Let's click create spreadsheet. And it's going to create a brand new one for us. Now what you want to do, this part is also very helpful. If you'll paste your student names in here underneath student, and I'll tell you why here in a second. It's going to help us create pivot tables. So if the student name is not there, the spreadsheet doesn't see it and doesn't know that it should be there. So it's really hard to create pivot tables. All right, next thing we're going to do is go up to help and type in pivot and then click on pivot table. So what we want to know is the student's name, and then we want to know how many points they have. Excuse me, we do want to see a row. So let's click on row and we want student. So now we see all those student names. So now I need to filter it down to just the student names from that home room. So here, this part gets a little tedious, but luckily they're all in order. So we're going to add a filter by student. Instead of showing all students, we just want to see the ones in Mr. Fuller's class and hit OK. Now, as they get more and more points, let's add Susie in there so you can see her points. So now in our pivot table, we want to see their total of points. So let's see some values for reward points. And now we see that Susie has 5 total and that her entire homeroom has 5. And we name this tab Fuller. So now we have Fuller's homeroom. So this part's a little bit tedious, but remember, in our case, we're saving thousands of dollars. So this is something I knocked out in an afternoon. So you just go through and continue to create more pivot tables based off of your homerooms. So I'll review real quick. We created our Google form after we got all of our rosters in a spreadsheet. So hopefully your school information systems person can help you out with this. Or if you're just doing it for your homeroom, that makes it even simpler. I like to start off with having them select grade level if this is school-wide. So they select 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade. We even did this for our staff, so I even had a staff drop down as well. From there, based on their answer, so by clicking the 3 dots, we go to a section based on the answer. We hop down to 3rd grade, then they select their homeroom teacher out of that group. Based on that answer, it sends them to a new section where they can pick their student and enter their reward points. After reward points, make sure to select submit form to end the form, or it'll send them on to the next section. So again, always after your reward points, we need to deposit those, so we hit submit form. Then we're going to create a spreadsheet. Then we need to move all of our student names into the student column of our spreadsheet, and that's how we can begin to create pivot tables. So to create a pivot table, click help, type in pivot table, select pivot table, and then we want to begin to add our information in here by selecting students as a row, and then we want to see the values of how many reward points they have. So not too terribly difficult. But just take it slow, pause the video, do a few steps, watch a few more. And I hope this helps you and your system save a little bit of money on that as you track your PBIS rewards.